enjoying it. I brought up about the English. I had been yesterday out in the
But it was kind of hard.
Okay. But somehow or another, he got early history of the
Excuse me.
Yeah.
One of my first things it is a vindictive. Because I want people to realize that they're all where's it go? There's all history.
It was a dope car, but that's not that
I wish people jump up and put it was recite that.
I was gonna go on.
Well, John was personally involved because John did a lot of typing for him. Anyway.
Okay, are we ready to, we got Tony back. Everybody's wet their whistle and we're good to go. Okay. So do you have questions for Tony? Anybody?
We're waiting on the.
Oh, okay, sorry.
We need the little microphone.
Oh,
Microphone, have a microphone, I'm doing what I'm doing here.
Is
Oh,
that
give me the
easy to
microphone,
use?
Okay,
Does it require much
Press it on.
skill?
how do I do it? Press what?
press the buttons, there's two of them. It looks like right here at the top of that. You see them there?
Oh, God, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
here, right here. Whoa, whoa, look at it here.
I see it, they're both on.
They're on? Yeah.
Okay, and you can tell by checking the front to see if it's moving. Okay.
No, it's not moving.
It's not moving? Let me see.
Need my flashlight to see it. Okay. All right, now who do I point this to? Whoever's talking.
Here, hold this. All right, we're good? Thank you. We have a question?
For the oral histories for the project that you're going to be starting up, how would one prepare, or I guess, do you have topics arranged already besides the Valley Fire? How would one prepare to, ask specific questions that pertain to the topic? Are you going to have to provide materials? Or?
So the Book to Action project and the program itself is really can be fitted to anyone's idea of what they want to do. You don't have to participate in the official oral history project of collecting Valley Fire stories. You could be a part of it and just want to learn how to collect oral history for your family, so you don't have to participate in the specific part that we want to go out and collect stories of the Valley Fire. One of the reasons why the book was chosen that we're using for the Book to Action is because a lot of it is taken up by good kinds of questions you can ask relating to different topics. If you want to learn about someone's early childhood, there's a list of 20 different questions that are you could use as samples. All of them are open-ended questions. You never want to ask a yes or no question because that's just how you get a yes or no answer, right? So that is why the book's being used. So it provides that kind of information. For those people that are interested in participating in the collecting of the Valley Fire stories, I think that I'm going to be talking with Christopher in the coming weeks, but we would like to compile a list of people that would like to be volunteer oral historians, and we would provide them with some of the questions that we would like to ask. But like any good oral historian, it's understandable that you might not get to all the questions, or that those questions might not be asked in the entirety as we perceive it to be in the first place. So it could be as loosey-goosey. You could just want to participate, get a free book, and go to the workshop and learn how to conduct an oral history interview. Or if you want to be a part of the collecting of Valley Fire stories, you're welcome.
At the workshop?
You can pick it up at any of the branches of the libraries or the Historic Courthouse Museum or the Lower Lake Schoolhouse. You do it at the beginning of April. So you have a chance to look through it before the workshops.
How soon will the books be around?
I think the first week in April is the plan.
So the workshop, how many workshops are there before
There's going to be
to train people, I imagine?
2 different workshops to train people.
Okay.
So one is going to be, I believe, here in Middletown, at the Middletown Library. But I'm not entirely sure about that yet. The one that I know about and the one that I'll be leading is the one in Lakeport, April 16th in the morning. So it's actually a great opportunity. You can come to the workshop in the morning from 10 to noon and go out to eat lunch and then go to the No Lake County Valley Fire panel at the library in Lakeport from 2 to 4. So you can get your fill of that kind of information.
April 16th, where?
At the Historic Courthouse Museum. It's on one of the flyers that I think I hand out. If no one got one of those, stay tuned. It'll be dispersed later. Get one back.
We're going to be away for both of those workshops. Really interested. Are you going to be recording this so that we could get up to speed by looking at a video?
Yes. Our local access channel will be recording it.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's possible that Lake Coast News might also as well. They have a tendency to record our
We are
programs.
hopeful of putting it on a DVD, so you
That
can buy
would be
one and take it
super.
home.
Yeah, that's great. Great idea.
My question is about the book. You said there are some questions that are already there that you can.
Yeah.
Do you have to gain permission to use those questions
Nope.
and change the rule?
Nope. Another benefit of the book, and we'll be going into in much more detail. I didn't even bring it up today. There's a lot of ethical concerns about conducting oral history interviews. In the 1980s, the government, the United States government, for whatever reason, started requiring official oral history projects to be put under an institutional review board. So an institutional review board are boards that make sure that scientific research is being conducted ethically and things like that. So since the 1980s, there's been a little bit more of a focus on the ethics of conducting oral history. We don't have to be under an institutional review board. What we do have to do is have certain forms. And the beauty of the book is that it provides samples of those forms. You're free to copy them, print them out. We'll have actual copies of them at the workshops to be dispersed.
I was concerned because I'll have to do an institute at some point. Mine is about my dissertation, completing it. And that's why I said.
In 2002, the Oral History Association of America and the American Historical Association met with OSHA. Does that sound? Yeah, OSHA.
Occupational safety, healthy.
No, I don't think it's OSHA. Not OSHA. One of the big that reviews and makes sure that research is being conducted ethically in the United States. They met with them because the problem is that oral history interviews should not be put under the same strict standards as someone that's collecting medical information from people. I mean, my God, you don't require that. Basically what they were doing in 2002 is showing the government, look, we have our own ethical standards and they are very stringent. We shouldn't be needing to go to an institutional review board, because what was happening is those boards were shooting down people's dissertations.
Are you talking about the city training that we have to go?
No.
You have fun?
No, it's nothing standard like that. But depending on where did you do your dissertation?
In the university out of state.
Okay, it's a possibility that they don't require that anymore. Some universities don't. A lot still do because they still stick to their guns. So, but thankfully, we don't have to. Just breathe easy about that.
What are the ethical issues in
Thank you.
histories?
You are collecting people's, and in some cases, very uncomfortable memories. Especially with the Valley Fire Project and other oral history projects that are focused on tragedy. You are, in many ways, acting in a similar vein as a counselor of some sort. Oral history interviews are, in many ways, a very cathartic experience. There has been a continuing, ongoing oral historical project, I think at NYU and the New York State Library, immediately after 9/11. And they've collected thousands of oral history interviews. There are a lot of they're your memories. And we need to have you sign off that it's okay that we're going to be transcribing them. It's okay that we're going to be putting them in archives for posterity. You have to sign off that you're even wanting to do the interview. Then you have to sign off after you've read the transcripts and said that it is a legitimate product of what you were saying. So those are the kind of ethical issues, especially with a project like this, where we are going to be touching on some difficult memories, some recently difficult.
So are you just doing written? Are you doing the written histories, the written stories, or are you going to be videotaping?
It'll be
In other words, the transcript.
Yeah. The beauty of community-based oral history projects, and it's also sometimes their Achilles heel, is that it is the movement behind it are the volunteers. So if we get a great group of volunteers that are willing to go out and conduct the interviews, then we will allow them to do it in video form if they choose to, or in an audio form, which is probably more standard. In either cases, they need to have a physical transcript.
Right.
So the end result could be any kind of medium, but there also has to be a transcript of some sort, or at the very least, an indexed and summarized paper form.
Right. Because, as we all know,
technology changes.
Paper lasts.
Paper lasts.
Unless there's a huge fire.
Unless there's a huge fire.
Although
Which is why
London has just started putting all of their records back on sheepskin.
Oh.
Because paper doesn't last as well.
Exactly. Interesting.
Carved in stone.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Tony, would you tell us some about you, about where you grew up, where you went to school, and we'd like to know more about you.
See, I could just say I walked in off the street. You guys have already listened to my whole spiel, so.
That's okay.
You're pretty good at it then.
Yeah, there you go, there you go. I born and raised in Stockton, California. I'm the 5th generation from there, so California, born and raised. I went to school at Gonzaga University in Spokane, Washington, and then University of Missouri for my master's. So I have my master's in art history and archaeology with a focus in museum studies. Yeah.
May I add, what brought you to Lake County? I mean, I'm sure that you put resumes out to a lot of places and that. What was Lake County's appeal?
I think that it's been an interesting situation here in Lake County that people don't quite understand what you guys have in terms of the museums. When I applied, it was for the assistant curator position in December of 2014. 55 people from around the country applied for that position. And at the time, it was 3/4 time. It wasn't even a full-time position. The way the industry is, there's an industry called public history. Public history is, I would consider myself a public historian. I make history work for people. I want to present it in an interesting manner. I want to get kids interested in it. I want to get adults interested in it. Public history, a lot of public historians work for the government in one way, shape, or form. I work for the county, and I absolutely love it. So I came here for the job. I came here to work with the county. I work with their marketing department because if you think about it, the museums are the only attractions for family fun indoor. What else is there to do in Lake County? There's a lot of outdoor activities you can do, but if you have kids, you don't really want to go to a winery. You know, you can go hiking, you can go fishing, you can go boating, but if it's crappy weather outside and you're passing through, what do? You go to see the museum. So I'm happy to be working with the marketing department to beef up our destinations marketing appeal, and I love working with school groups, and we have the ability to do that. So
A group from the Stonehouse ended up going up to the museum one day, and we saw how the map room is being reorganized, and I mean, nice things are happening.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's the museum in Lakeport's been around since 1934, so there's been a lot of stuff, period. And so there's a lot of work to be done, but we have a lot of good volunteers and a lot of good employees. So
Is it true that you have scanned the Malden notes now?
we're a third of the way through.
A third of the way. That's wonderful.
We have we already have a place to put them on our website. So and to be perfectly honest, we're doing it for a lot of reasons, but one of the biggest for me is I want to clear up space in our office. They take up so much room, and we're getting these thousands of original court documents that have been kind of hidden away in the Upper Lake Genealogy Library that were taken there during this big shakeup of the museum in 2002, and they've just kind of been forgotten.
In, I believe, September, our fireside speaker will be a wonderful man from Cobb who donated several years of his life to going through cardboard boxes of paper that were stored in the basement of the old courthouse.
Yeah.
Willy-nilly.
Yeah, so we are wanting to clear space because there are about 8 filing cabinets full of court documents from the 1860s to the 1960s, mostly criminal, also from the justice courts. and they've just been forgotten, but they provide. Oh my God! I mean, so we want to clear space so that we can properly put them in a database, so we can actually search the darn
But
things.
since Kathleen Alvey, bless her heart,
Yeah.
put the index online, it's now possible to do research with Malden notes much easier than it ever was before, certainly if you get those online.
And once we get the actual history itself up online, and along with the index that Kathy has allowed us to use, you don't need to, we'll still keep the original documents, but we don't need to have them accessible 24/7.
Hurry.
Hurry.
I know.
Now, these are the index cards.
They're everything.
Yeah.
The index cards themselves are the index, just like your old library, filing system. And then it's the 20-something binders of old typewritten pages of his collected history. There are a lot of oral histories in there. There are a lot of he actually wrote and transcribed entire books from other people. So it's not when you consider it the collection.
He was not a trained historian, but he was certainly dedicated.
He spent thousands of hours and a lot of effort collecting stories.
I was told when I first started working with him, and I don't remember by whom, that Henry typically took a bottle and or a 6-pack out on his interviews and got some good information.
Is that ethical?
No, it's not. No, it's not, which is, some changing standards. Right?
How big a staff, Tony, do you all have to do this? I mean, one person is going to take a lifetime.
Yeah. Over the years, and I have no problem saying this because the county can do what the county can do. Over the years, the museums have been cut to the bone. They cannot cut us anymore without shutting down. I mean, literally, that's where the budget's at. And even before the fires, that's where the budget was at. When I took over the curator position last June, it was under the condition that, it wasn't a condition, I wasn't down, I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do it. But I was saying, would you please do this? That it be made full-time. The curator position hasn't been full-time since 2003, I think. So they did that. I have an assistant curator, Whitney, who's still at 3/4 time. I'm pushing for her to be made full-time as well. We operate 2 museums, and to have only 1 full-time staff is absurd. We also have 6 less than half-time staff, and that's what we have. We're pushing for it, hoping for more.
We have so many interesting locations in Lake County. Most or many Lake County. I'm thinking I would think there'd be a tourism possibility for doing history.
Yes.
We've got the lime tree
I agree.
estates, we've got 3 museums, there's just so much.
Yep.
And I guess staffing would be the problem.
No, not for that. I think that it just takes the creativity to think of those things and the will to do them. We're almost done with the darn project. I was pulled onto this when I first started because Gigi Stahl, for those of you who know, she left the county, her house destroyed. She's coming back, but in the meantime, I took over the help with the project to redo the heritage panels in the county. There were about 5 of them. They were nice little interpretive panels. We've increased the number to 8, and we've put the old CD audio tour up on the website. So with a QR code, so you can scan on the panel itself with your smartphone and listen to an audio tour of these 8 spots in Lake County. So it's kind of a self-guided tour, right? That's a start. I think that the kind of tour you're talking about is possible, and we've been thinking about wanting to. It wouldn't be a moneymaker. It would just be something that, if we break even, it would be great.
Well, add some ghosts to it, you'd make a lot of money.
This county's not haunted, and it's so depressing.
It sure is.
I've heard otherwise.
Really,
I need to find you some ghosts.
I need to see these because, gosh, that is the moneymaker right there.
Exactly.
There's one right there.
Yeah.
And she's
Me or her?
you.
Like you have the wine adventure, why not have the museum adventure? And, you say it's not a moneymaker, if you're not, you can either charge a minimal amount or every museum have a donation jar and have somebody like the docents or somebody who's knowledgeable about the museums, be available to talk about. And that might generate more revenue.
Yeah, and one of the things that would talk with Lake County Transit. They're the only really viable option.
Like the wine adventure, you have
self-driven and everything like
just
that.
drive yourself and send them a map of the hours and times and make it fun. Maybe have refreshments and
I like that.
Would be
Self-driven.
cool.
Yeah, people stay on the corner, then all
They're
fine.
potential here.
Hey, I just said something. Have somebody like here dress like Lily Landry and have her talk like Lily Landry and bring history alive at the different
The
museums.
historical docents.
Ever
Yeah.
sit still, very still.
Yeah, really, yeah.
I think that's a good idea, Pat, I like that too.
Yeah.
Okay, no judging.
This time.
So were there any other? Vaughn had a question at one point. I said we were.
Vaughn had to leave. Yeah. We are working on trying to make ourselves more visible and working with Tony and Lake County. We do have so much to offer. We're an amazing county,
Well,
and amazing people.
I think Tony has done a lot to get the museums and the various organizations in less than a year, right, Tony?
Yes,
Yeah,
It
and
seems-
already you've got people talking to each other. That's pretty impressive.
it is.
It's the inspiration of you.
Well, it's just a matter of getting people together. I mean, it's not difficult. It's fun. It should be fun.
You've heard about North County and South County and the Civil War?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, that one. Well, see, I think for me it's different because I don't see Lake County as a county. I see it as, because I work between Lower Lake and Lake, so already in my conception of the county, not individual towns, but as Lake County. I don't talk about places as the towns. I talk about it as a single county. So for me, I think it's just a mental thing.
I think for Gibson, it's a feeling of knowing we have somewhere to go for the right answers, and it's
we're happy
important.
to provide them.
Yeah.
As far as we know.
So are you located in Lakeport on Main Street? Is that where your office is?
I split between that and then the Lower Lake Schoolhouse Museum. I'm in Lower Lake on Saturdays almost exclusively, and then there one other day during the week. It just depends on what we're doing.
And are they taking the school children during the week occasionally to the various little museums?
So since September, We've had about 700 students come through.
Oh, really? That's great.
Perfect.
Through the two
Yeah.
museums, both museums. We're having 5 fifth grade classes from Upper Lake coming in the next 2 weeks from now in Lakeport.
We're
So
getting very slow response from our local schools. We've sent letters and talked to people, and, well, yeah, that's a good idea.
do
But it
you,
just waits.
you pay for the buses? Do you provide the busing?
No.
Okay. So you're at somewhat of a disadvantage because both of us, we do because we have a Wine Alliance grant, and also because our nonprofits are willing to do it. Lake County, as you know, is the poorest county in California. 1 in 4 people live in poverty. School districts are no better. It's on the burden's on the teachers to raise the money for field trips. They'd like to take their kids to Sutter's Fort. That's an expensive trip. So we're happy to be able to provide the funds for the busing. That might be something that Gibson would want to look into.
Well-
And it wouldn't be terrible. I mean, my God, the one in Lakeport, it costs $50, not even for them to just.
Wow.
We
So if
will certainly
you-
look into that. I mean, I was with the Stonehouse Historical Society, and every year the 3rd grade walked a mile
Yeah.
to come to Stonehouse. It's less than a mile to Minnie Cannon School. You would think they could walk.
It could. Another thing that we have begun to institute are special programs. You know, yes, museum tours are important, and they're good, and kids enjoy them. But if you can provide something that's beyond the simple museum tour, make a different product to
Well, we've
provide
had
them.
wonderful response from the charter schools,
Yeah.
not the public schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think two girls wanted to know if those shoes were for sale because they would buy them. They fell in love with the
At
shoes.
least 2.
At least.
Everybody loves those.
And then there was my fellow who decided the best thing in the whole museum was the pencil sharpener.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Where is it?
We had kids come to the courthouse museum, and I mean, yeah, they liked everything, like the baskets and everything, but they were fascinated with the painted tiles on the roof, on the ceiling in the courtroom. They were just fascinated by that. And really, that's what you take away?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know, it'll
Yeah.
work. But if you can do different kinds of, like in October, we launched the Archaeology Month. It's to come out and do the mock excavation. We had 126 graders come out. And we're doing it again in the middle of March this month in Lower Lake this time with Kelseyville schoolers. So we're going to have another 106 graders come. So if you can do things that are educational beyond coming to the museum and touring it, that gets them a lot more. It takes a lot more work because it requires that you meet and talk about the curriculum, but the results better.
Let's say an organization wanted to donate, let's say, for a certain grade to go on the school bus, and we would pay the $50 or $100, whatever it takes. Could we do that? Like directly send donation to you and say this, whatever school can release the 3rd grade or 4th grader from, say, you know, Middletown or anywhere? Can that be done? Some of these organizations, the nonprofits that are in Lake County, all of them, Lake County, not just down here. Could they do that? Are they aware that that would be a good program for them to donate?
That's a good question, Brendan.
We're in a bizarre point right now. The nonprofits in Lake County with the fires, rightfully so. The focus on fundraising is towards the recovery effort. And in general, there has been a lack of communication between nonprofits with a similar mission. The fact that I work with 2 separate nonprofits for the 2 museums still is kind of bizarre to me. Because the reality is, and in fact, there's 3 nonprofits for the museums. And my God, it's the same mission. Why is there 3 separate? But that's just how it is. And so I think that can be communicated, but it's not being done. Or you can go out, I mean, the Wine Alliance is about the closest thing we get to a community foundation in Lake County. So you can apply for a Wine Alliance grant with the explicit purpose of the money being used to pay for the busing.
Yeah. It's something.
What did Eli, I still don't know, what did they use in their, what was their grant that they got?
They got a grant from the Wine Alliance.
For what though?
Yeah, for paying busing for school children.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
See?
Yeah.
Just go get their proposal and vary it a little.
The application's due by March 20th.
We've applied to Wine Alliance, but we're looking more to, we're trying to get kids to research and write local history, to assign topics and have them, or contests sort of, to look up things like Buck English. And as soon as Christopher gets us a reader in the library that we can use.
I think for funding, approaching, instead of nonprofits, like I have my own nonprofit, we're much smaller than you guys, but we get 100% of our funding from private individuals. And, you know, contacting or doing some kind of outreach to individuals and having a goal saying that you're trying to raise money for a specific thing, like for the kids, you know, that will probably touch a lot of hearts. Not only the parents, but you know, even if people who read it, if you could explain to them, if you go use the media, what medium we have around here, the county news and Middletown Mercury, getting the word out and saying, you know, pass this information along, getting flyers out, you might make some good money just by doing it that way. Because I did my own research on how many nonprofits there were a few years ago. There's like in Lake County alone, I think over 455 nonprofits. And everybody's trying to scramble for their own nonprofit, you know, funding for their own nonprofit. But if you hit individuals who, and who knows who you might find. You might find someone who might write you a check for $10,000. You never know.
Last November, and keep your eye on it for your benefit, the Mendocino Community Foundation had a workshop available for nonprofits of fundraising, grassroots fundraising, and that I dragged my two nonprofits to and it was a great workshop because it dispelled the notion that only rich people can donate money, or that nonprofits are solely funded by the wealthy. Because that's what, when I first came here in Lake County, everyone's, well, you can't raise money because it's the poor people. The reality is that, and I'm going to fudge the numbers because I can't remember them, something like third of money that goes to nonprofits comes from private individuals, and 2/3 of those private individuals make less, come from household incomes that make less than $35,000 a year. So in terms of percentage of what you make, people that are middle to low income are more generous with their money. So grassroots fundraising in Lake County is exactly that.
A lot of people I'm aware of how they cancel, like there's certain individuals, well, okay, if you're 70 and a half and you have to take your required minimum distributions from your IRA, you can take up to $100,000 without being taxable if you give it to a nonprofit. There might be some wealthy people out there, or not even, they don't even have to be that wealthy, who, and I have clients, I'm in the financial services business too, and who say, you know, I hate taking these RMDs. I don't need the money, but I have to take it and I'm being taxed on it. Well, if you don't need it, but you want to donate it, it might be tax deductible, actually.
Yeah.
So, you know, getting the word out about different ideas of how to find money. That's the other thing. Some people don't know. They may have the money that they can donate, but they just don't know how to find it.
But part of the problem is that you're kind of in a vicious circle, that you can't get money if you're not doing anything. You have to be producing programs and putting things on.
Yeah, exactly.
And be seen.
Yeah, you
to
can't
be
just collect money,
benefits.
but people, I find, donate if there is a goal. It's much more
Yeah.
simpler to think. Rather than giving money to this organization I may or may not know anything about,
Thank you.
I'm donating to their project.
Thank you so much for coming.
See you.
Well, and then in this county too, I know a lot of money goes, people will donate to the sports programs. Not that that's wrong, kids need to play sports, but, you know, they're at, like you said, we're a rural community, and, you know, and income levels here are lower than, say, Sonoma County or whatever, but there's so many things we need to donate in this county to keep it going, you know? If we have grandkids in school, we're trying to help them, and then you're talking about the museums, and schools are underfunded. I mean, it's just circle.
Yeah, there's not enough of a pie
Yeah,
to begin with.
exactly. And now this Valley Fire didn't help, and, you know, I mean, my own family got hit with this fire, so I mean, I know what everybody's going through, you know.
I will say this, millions and millions of dollars were raised. And a lot of it from outside of Lake County. I don't know how it's being distributed. I don't know. I know that some groups that I've talked with, they learned from the Napa earthquake that not to distribute all of your money in the beginning, that a lot of the problems come up in the mid to long term recovery process. So I don't know how much, I think the focus on fundraising is still on the recovery effort, but I think it's going to be less so as we move a little bit forward. I don't think there are any more fundraisers for the recovery effort.
Yeah, there are.
Oh, there are.
Oh, yeah.
You shake your
There's a
head.
big
yeah.
one next week, right?
Okay, then I completely, then maybe.
There were so many
just continue.
people in Cobb that had these houses that were passed generations down, and the folks that were living in them currently did not pay for fire insurance. So we've got people that have nothing because they had no fire insurance. So
I know.
I mean, that's the reality. That's why the fundraisers.
Well, then I think that I think now I'm talking to just Gibson people.
Oh, TV lady.
And TV lady.
Cover my.
No, it doesn't matter. But I think in terms of the museums moving forward, and I've been battling this with both nonprofits I work with, there's this mentality that fundraisers raise money. No, they don't. Fundraisers, you come out a little ahead. The amount of time and effort you put into putting the suckers on, they're events more than they are fundraisers. If, with that notion in mind, in terms of the fact that there are fundraisers continuing on for Valley Fire, focus on individual giving, focus on memberships. Memberships make your money. The Friends that are the nonprofit with the Courthouse Museum, their memberships have increased since July fourfold almost.
Right.
And that is where you get the money. You know, you get it in the memberships because you give the memberships or mean something to someone. You know, they get something out of it. They can be a part of something. And that $20 or whatnot multiplied by 50 goes a long ways.
Well, Boris did this 216 campaign for the Lake County Historical Society. Doing very well.
Good.
I hope Gibson does one.
Yeah, I ran across the letter that she proposed for us 2 years ago, but I don't think it ever got mailed.
Well, use her format because
Was it sent out to
people
just
are just
members,
giving little
or-
bits of money though.
Yeah.
Like you said, not a big pot, but individuals are donating to LCHS and to Eli, and Gibson. So we've got 3 pots. We are receiving some money, but we have to do things like your organization might have to do, from that museum, do something like that too, like a campaign for the children or the school.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
They'll do it. They'll give you $10 or $20.
When I took over, the Friends were about to dissolve. The nonprofit was about to collapse. Thankfully, there's new energy. We'll see if hopefully it continues. And the museums weren't doing, or they weren't being seen to be doing anything. They were doing things, but they weren't getting the publicity that they should have had. They weren't doing enough public outreach. So you can't ask for money when people say, well, what are you doing with it?
Yeah.
And that's how membership dropped. That's how donations dropped. You have to do things. You have to be seen to be doing things in order to justify getting a donation from someone.
Well, there's always the caveat, well, what am I going to get for it?
Yeah.
If I give you $50, where's it going to go?
You have to be pretty specific about what you're asking for.
Exactly, yeah.
Next question. And Nina, can Gibson fundraise on their own and just have proceeds?
Not
You
until
can't do that yet.
We
That's
cannot
still
yet, no.
Okay.
No, we can't.
But
We're working on that.
Yeah.
But we're not
you're
there.
covered on this one. There is some dollars that's going to go toward Gibson.
But we're getting
A
a
portion.
small piece of the pie,
Yeah,
right?
you gotta get the pie.
That's what some people are marking, the campaign thing has 3 choices, LCHS specifically, Eli specifically, and or Gibson. Or some are putting it to one LCHS, but then eventually we're going to spread that, what I've been told. But I mean, when you do a campaign, you can put where you think, school buses for the children to come to the museum, or something for the museum to,
Were they sent out just to members, or was it a mail?
She sent it out to all the people that belong to Lake County Historical. I don't know where they got the names.
Wait,
Somebody has a master,
Are they sending it paper, mail, or through email?
Paper.
Paper.
There's a list of, a hierarchy of profit margins that you get when you raise money. At the bottom is our fundraising. You do it for the publicity, you do it to give back to members. You don't expect to make a whole heck of a lot of money. At the top is major gifts. They're actually at the top are bequests. People put you in your will. That requires very little output comparatively for what tends to be a large donation. And then it goes down from there. Direct mail is somewhere in the middle, believe it or not. I think the post office in Lakeport, you can pay $1,000 and they'll mail a piece, whatever it is you want, to every person with a Lakeport address.
How long does it take to get there?
like a bulk mail.
How long
It's
does
a
it take
bulk.
to get there?
Yeah.
If you get that non-profit,
4 weeks.
they don't guarantee it like
You can't.
you did, they would pay that for you. What is it now?
We have to
You usually get it in a day or so. I think it can take like a month.
But if it's just for
If it's
for a
general.
fundraiser or general stuff, then it doesn't
If
really
you get
matter
out the
when you get
fundraiser
it.
stuff.
If you're advertising for an event, that's another. Well, we got off the topic of oral history.
Anyway, well,
It was all good, and it's lovely to see it just casual, informal.
Oh, you have to ask Alan, I don't know. Ask Beth.
I think they're done.
Oh, can we stop taping? Oh, okay. I want to demic Tony.
Uh-oh.
Is it gonna hurt?
I don't know.
Tony, we're so grateful that you would take your Sunday and come down here and do this for
Not a
us.
problem.
Thank you very much.
very much.
We need to get you together with Gibson's board as soon as we figure out what it is.
Okay.
Well, it's
What
been
happened?
morphing and flexing since we started, so we're getting there.
We are.
That's
We're making
all we can
progress.
say, really. It is coming together, and